एकदन्तं महाकायं तप्तकाञ्चनसन्निभं पार्वती हृदयानन्दं तं वन्दे गणनायकम्। नमस्तेऽस्तु महामाये श्रीपीठे सुरपूजिते शङ्खचक्रगदाहस्ते महालक्ष्मी नमोऽस्तु ते। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा।
Namaste and very good afternoon to everyone joining us today. With the divine blessings of Vighanharta Ganesh Ji and Ma Saraswati still vibrating in our heart, we begin this beautiful afternoon. There could not be a more auspicious or fitting way to bless a gathering dedicated to wisdom, mindfulness, and a protection of our Mother Earth. My name is Achla Bhupendra, and as a chairperson of Sustainable Future Foundation, it brings me immense joy to welcome you all to this incredible special edition of our Learners Today and Leaders Tomorrow series. A very warm welcome to all our lovely audience and dedicated parents, inspiring educators, and most importantly, our brilliant young change makers who are joining us today. We are so thrilled to have your energy and passion in the room as we look toward building a brighter, more sustainable future together. Thank you for being here. For those who are new to our journey, the Sustainable Future Foundation, SFF, is a registered Section 8 non-profit organization driven by a profound mission to breathe sustainability in every single aspect of our life on Earth. We don't just protect the environment, we nurture the entire ecosystem of living beings. Through dynamic webinars and immersive student workshops, we are igniting a passion for change in schools and universities. On the ground, we turn awareness into action through widespread tree planting and sapling distribution drives. Here, we aren't just teaching the future, we are actively building it hand in hand with the next generation of leaders. So when we talk about the environment, we often look to scientists, policymakers, corporations for answers. But here at SFF, we firmly believe that true lasting change begins at the grassroots level, right in your home and our schools. School children and youth are not just the leaders of tomorrow. You are the active drivers of change today. Your voice carries an unmatched purity, urgency, and power. Engaging our youth in these critical dialogues is absolutely necessary because you are the ones who will inherit this planet, and your daily habits will shape the future of our global environment. So today's topic is deeply close to my heart, and it challenges the very narrative we are fed daily. We are discussing the power of no thanks, why buying less is better for the earth than my greed. We live in an era of hyper-consumerism, where even sustainability has been turned into a market trend. We are told that to save the earth, we must buy more eco-friendly product. But true conversation doesn't lie in changing our brands. It lies in changing our mindset. It lies in mindful consumption and having the courage to look at the excess and politely say, no thanks. To break down this vital concept, we have a fantastic panel of conscious young minds with us today. I'm so proud to welcome our brilliant student speakers. We have here Pragya, Rima, Tanishka, Anaya. Thank you, girls, for stepping up as environmental stewards and leading this conversation. To guide us through the whole exciting session, I will now hand over the floor to our wonderful young host of the day, Peehu Bhupendra. She is a dedicated student and a leader who is passionate about driving culture and environment awareness among her peers. Over to you, Peehu.
ॐ सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा Om. Hey Ma Saraswati, you give us knowledge and wisdom. Please bless us to learn well, speak kindly, and make the most of today's session. May your grace guide us as we explore the wonders of trees and nature. Namaste and a very warm welcome to everyone joining us today. Thank you so much, Achta ma'am, for those inspiring words and for setting such a powerful vision for us today. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Peehu, and I'm incredibly honored to be the host for this session of the Learners Today Leaders Tomorrow series of Sustainable Future Foundation. We are here to talk about a trend that we see all over our screens every single day. The topic of our discussion is the power of no thanks, why buying less is better for the earth than buying green. Think about it. Every day, social media algorithms and flashy advertisements tell us that to save the planet, we need to shop from a sustainable brand or buy eco friendly products. But today, we are here to look behind the curtains. We are here to find out why the greenest product is actually the one you never bought. To help us break down, please give a massive round of applause to our brilliant speakers, Pragya Kumar, Rima Singh, Tanishka Sripada, and Anaya Baraskar. Thank you all for joining us today. Let's dive straight into our very first segment. This round is all about understanding what a topic actually means and breaking down the basic terms we hear every day. Let's start with the things we see on store shelves. Every single day, we are bombarded with choices. When we walk down the supermarket aisles, hundreds of products are competed for our attention, all claiming to be the best choice for us and for our planet. But as smart consumers, we have to look beyond the flashy marketing. This round is all about understanding what a topic actually means and breaking down the basic terms we hear every day. Let's start with the things we see on the store shelves. Pragya, my first question is for you. When a company puts a green leaf on the package and calls it natural or eco friendly, what does that actually mean? Is it always true or is it just a trick to get us to buy more? Over to you, Pragya.
First of all, I would like to thank our host, Pihu, for asking such an interesting and an important question. Today, many of us try to make environmentally responsible choices. When we see words like eco friendly, green, or natural on a product, we often assume that it must be better for the environment. However, things are not always that simple. Some companies genuinely work hard to reduce their environmental impact by using recycled materials, reducing waste, and adopting sustainable practices. In these cases, eco-friendly labels can actually help consumers be informed and make responsible choices. But unfortunately, some companies use environmental claims mainly as a marketing tool. They use green colors, images of natures, or vague terms that sound environmentally friendly without providing a clear evidence to support those claims. This practice is known as greenwashing. And as customers, it is important for us to look beyond the packaging. We should ask questions such as what actually makes this product eco-friendly? Is there any proof? Are there any trusted certifications or facts behind the claim? The choices we make every day influence business. When consumers support genuinely sustainable products, companies are encouraged to adopt more responsible practices. So, in conclusion, eco friendly labels are not always misleading, but they should not be accepted without a question. A responsible consumer looks beyond the marketing and seeks facts. As the saying goes, behind being green is not about what product says, it's about what a product does. Thank you.
Please.
Wow, that is a huge eye opener. So, green leaf doesn't always equal a green reality. Thank you, Pragya, for exposing how easily marketing can mislead us. But greenwashing doesn't happen on store shelves, it follows us onto our screens too. Today, our consumption habits are heavily driven by what we see on our feeds. We often think that as long as we are buying an item labeled sustainable, we are doing the right thing. But sometimes the trend of looking eco friendly overrides the actual purpose of protecting the environment. Moving on from packaging to social media trends, Rima, my next question is for you. Rima, we see trends online where people buy 5 or 6 reusable metal water bottles just because they look cute or match their clothes. Why does buying reusable items turn into a bad thing when we buy too many of them? Over to you, Rima.
Thank you, Pihu. That's actually a very interesting question. The main issue is not the reusable bottle itself. The issue is buying more than we need. Reusable products help the environment only when we use them many times and keep them for a long period of time. Therefore, buying one or two reusable bottles and using them every day is actually much better than buying many bottles just because they look nice. The best way to help the environment is to buy only what we need and use it for as long as possible. This way, we help save natural resources, reduce water, and lower pollution. Small choices like this can make a big difference for our planet. Reusable items are also good because we can use them again and again instead of throwing them away after one use. For example, a metal water bottle can replace many bottles, which helps reduce waste. However, problems can happen when people buy too many reusable items. Some people buy five or six water bottles because they think different colors, designs, or because the bottles match their clothes. Even though the bottles are reusable, making each one still uses metal, water, energy, and transportation. If people keep buying new bottles and stop using the old ones, the environmental benefits become smaller. The bottles may end up sitting in a cardboard instead of being used. Thank you.
Exactly. If we're collecting them like fast fashion, it defeats the whole purpose of being reusable. Thank you, Rima, for pointing out that even good products can become bad habits if we treat them like disposable trends. This brings us to a fundamental mindset shift that we all need to make. There's a massive difference between changing what we buy and changing how much we buy. The market is full of alternate options now, but substituting one purchase for another does not always solve the root problem if our overall consumption remains the same. Now let's clear up a major confusion. Tanishka, how can we explain the difference between buying green and buying less to someone who thinks they're saving the planet just by shopping from a sustainable brand? Over to you, Tanishka.
Great question, Pihu. A lot of people assume that buying eco friendly products automatically means they're doing better for the environment. But let me ask you this: is extinguishing a fire really the same as trying to smother it? Imagine a fire breaks out. Your first instinct might be to grab a blanket and to try to cover it, hoping it goes away. And sure, it may look like it's working for a moment. The flames get smaller, maybe even controlled. But in reality, you haven't removed the fire, you've just covered it. And that's exactly what buying green can feel like sometimes. By smothering the fire, I mean buying from brands that advertise themselves as eco friendly or sustainable. At first, it feels like the perfect solution. You're still consuming, you're still shopping, but now it feels responsible. It feels like you're automatically helping the planet just by choosing a different label. But here's where it gets more complicated. Yes, taking care of the environment is extremely important, especially in the modern world. But we also tend to ignore other major parts of sustainability. How much we're actually consuming in the first place also matters. Because buying less in general already means we're using fewer resources. If fewer products are being purchased, then fewer need to be produced. That leads to less energy being used and fewer factories working overtime. This waste eventually, sorry, this causes to less waste eventually ending up in landfills. So instead of only focusing on better products, we should also be questioning whether we need the product at all. And of course, there's always another real angle to this: money. Sustainable products often come with a higher price tag. People are encouraged to spend more simply because something is labeled as green or eco friendly. But if we keep replacing items we already own with slightly more sustainable versions, it raises an important question. Are we actually reducing our impact, or are we just participating in a more expensive version of the same cycle? At that point, it starts to feel less like saving the planet and more like clever marketing. So, yes, buying green can help reduce some of the damage we're causing, but buying less cuts the problem off at its root. It reduces the demand that drives the whole system in the first place. Maybe the real change isn't just choosing more eco friendly products, but learning to step back and ask whether we need to buy anything at all. Because sometimes the most sustainable choice isn't a better product, it's no product at all.
Beautifully put, Tanishka. Buying green is still consuming, but buying less is true conservation. But it's not always easy to step away from the checkout cart. It takes real intention to break the cycle of buying, especially when society makes shopping feel like a hobby or a reward. To truly understand how to shift our habits, we have to look at the psychological and social pressures that drive us to click add to cart in the first place, even when we know better. Anaya, let's close this round with you. Why do you think our generation feels so much pressure to constantly buy new things? And why is it so hard for us to just say no thanks when we see a new trend? Over to you, Anaya.
First of all, thank you, Pihu, for hosting this discussion and for asking such thoughtful questions. I think this question is especially relevant to our generation because we feel a lot of pressure to buy new things because we are surrounded by advertisements, social media, and trends almost all the time. Unlike previous generations, we are constantly connected to the internet where we see influencers, celebrities, and even our friends showing us the latest products. Whether it is clothes, gadgets, shoes, skincare products, or accessories, there's always something new being promoted. When we keep seeing the same products over and over again, we start feeling like we need them, even if we were perfectly happy without them before. It is also difficult to say no thanks because trends are often connected to fitting in. Many people want to feel included and accepted by their friends and classmates. When everyone seems to be talking about a particular product or following a certain trend, it can make us feel like we should do the same. There is also the fear of missing out, also known as FOMO, where people worry that they will be left behind if they do not keep up with what is popular. I have experienced this myself. Sometimes I see a product online or notice that many people around me have it, and I suddenly start feeling like I need it too. However, after a few days, I often realize that I did not actually need it in the first place. This shows how strongly trends and advertisements can influence our decisions. Companies understand this feeling very well and use clever marketing strategies to encourage people to buy more. They create excitement around products by calling them limited edition or must have items. These messages make people feel like they need to act quickly before they miss an opportunity. However, trends change very quickly. Something that is popular today may be forgotten within a few months. That is why I think it is important to stop and think before making a purchase. Instead of asking, do I want this because I need it? We should ask, do I want this because everyone else has it? Learning to make this distinction can help us make better decisions and avoid unnecessary spending.
Thank you, Anaya. That really hits home. You're so right. Social media algorithms and the fear of missing out are designed to make us feel incomplete, but recognizing that pressure is the first step towards reclaiming our choices. That brings us to the end of the first round, where we successfully unmasked the buzzwords. We now know that a green label isn't always honest. Collecting reusable items defeats their whole purpose. Buying green is still consuming, but temporary trends keep us locked in a cycle of buying. That brings us perfectly into round two, the problem. In this segment, we are going to look at the hidden environmental damage caused by making, shipping, and throwing away things. Every item has a footprint long before it reaches our hands. Pragya, let's start with a reality check close to home. Living here in the UAE, we love online shopping. The convenience of next day delivery is a seamless part of our lives. But when we click buy on a green item, what is the hidden environmental cost of the delivery vans, shipping planes, and all that plastic wrapping? Over to you, Pragya.
Thanks, Pihu. That's a thoughtful and a relevant question. Online shopping has now become a part of our everyday life. With just a few clicks, we can order almost everything and anything, and we can have it delivered directly to our doorstep. It is convenient, fast, and often saves time. However, behind that convenience are environmental costs that we do not always notice. One major cost comes from transportation. So, delivery vehicles travel long distances every day, consuming fuel and producing carbon emissions. When products are shipped internationally, the environmental impact becomes even greater. Another hidden cost is packaging. Many online orders arrive wrapped in layers of cardboard, plastic, bubble wrap, and other protective material. While some of these materials are recycled, but still a large amount of it goes to waste. Returns, they also have a huge environmental impact. When products are returned, they must be transported again and the whole process repeat, increasing the emissions. In some cases, returned items cannot be resold and may end up being discarded. This does not mean that online shopping is bad, it simply means that we should shop more thoughtfully. Combining orders, avoiding unnecessary purchases, and supporting companies that use sustainable packaging can make a difference. In conclusion, every online purchase has an environmental footprint we should keep in mind. The more aware we are of the hidden costs, the better the choices we make for ourselves and the planet. I'd like to end with a simple quote: convenience is valuable, but responsibility makes it meaningful. Thank you.
That is a that is a massive carbon footprint just for a single click. Thank you, Pragya, for reminding us about the impact of convenience. It really shows us that how a product gets to us matters just as how much what the product is made of. Now let's look at how the things we wear are made. Beyond the shipping and delivery lines, there is a massive supply chain of natural resources and labor attached to our clothes. We often see labels highlighting a single good material, but we don't always think about the massive amounts of water, energy, and processing required to turn a raw plant into a finished piece of clothing. Rima, your question. Even if a t shirt is made of 100% organic cotton, what had to happen in a factory and on a farm to make that shirt before it even reached the store? Over to you, Rima.
Thank you very much, Pihu, for asking that great question. When you see a t shirt in a store, it looks pretty simple, right? It's just a shirt hanging on a rack. But have you ever stopped and wondered how it got there? Well, before that, the t shirt ever reached the store, a lot of things had to happen. It all started on a farm. Farmers planted cotton seeds and took care of the cotton plants as they grew. After the cotton was ready, it was picked and collected. Then the cotton was sent to be cleaned and turned into thread. That thread was used to make fabric, which is the material the shirt is from. Next, the fabric went to a factory where workers and machines cut the fabric into different pieces. Those pieces were sewn together and make a t-shirt shape we recognize. If the t-shirt had a color or a logo or a picture on it, it had to be added to it. After the t-shirt was finished, it still wasn't in the store. It had to be packed into boxes and transported, sometimes by truck, ship, train, or even an aeroplane. Eventually, it reached a warehouse and then at a store where workers unpack it and put it on the shelves. Think about that for a moment. One t shirt may have traveled hundreds or even thousands of miles. Many people helped making it. Farmers, factory workers, drivers, store employees all played a part. So, next time you pick a t shirt, remember that it has a story. And that's why it's a good idea to ask yourself one simple question before buying something: will I really need this? If the answer is yes, great. If no, maybe it's better to wait maybe it's better to wait a little longer, because when we understand all the work, time, and resources that go into making something, we can make smarter choices and appreciate the things we own a little more. Also, buying less but choosing reduce waste and protect our planet. When we take care of what we buy, we show respect for the people and the earth. Small choices made every day can lead to big changes. Thank you.
Thank you, Rima. It is incredible to realize how much resources, like thousands of liters of water, go into a single garment before we even lay eyes on it. It proves that production is just as resource heavy as shipping. Next, let's talk about what happens when we discard our things. We looked at how items are transported and how they are manufactured. But the story doesn't end when we are done using them. Many of us throw items away with a clear conscience. believing that certain eco labels mean that the product will just magically disappear or transform into something new without harming the earth. Unfortunately, waste management systems don't always work the way the labels promise. My next question is for you, Tanishka. A lot of things are labeled as biodegradable or recyclable. What is the harsh scientific reality of what happens to these items when they end up in our normal trash bins? Over to you, Tanishka.
This is a tricky question actually because people often see labels like biodegradable and assume that the product is helpful to the environment. But in reality, these labels can mislead us and make people think something is eco-friendly even when it still causes serious waste problems. Basically, when people throw stuff like biodegradable or recyclable things into a normal trash bin, it all just ends up in a landfill anyway. And a lot of people think it still achieves its purpose there, but that couldn't be further from the truth. In landfills, everything is just layered up together in huge piles, allowing little to no room for air or sunlight. So stuff that's supposed to break down naturally doesn't really get the chance to do that properly. Instead of turning into nutrient-rich soil, as intended, it turns into greenhouse gases, which contributes to climate change. Other times, the products don't even break down fully enough, turning into microplastics that nestle between the soil. Recycling is similar. Like if you throw a clean bottle into trash, it gets mixed in with food or liquids, basically ruined for recycling. Once it's dirty, no one wants to use it anymore, so it just gets tossed into regular garbage. A small, careless mistake of throwing a recyclable product into a non-recyclable bin can diminish the opportunity for recycling altogether. Many eco-friendly products need special facilities to be processed correctly. For example, some compostable plastics need very high temperatures to break down properly. If these products are thrown into an ordinary trash bin instead, they might last just as long as regular plastic and remain in landfills for decades. When we solely rely on eco-friendly labels instead of sorting our waste correctly, we're not protecting the environment. We're burying valuable resources forever. It is time to stop assuming that waste will simply disappear and start ensuring that it ends up in the correct bin.
Biodegradable isn't a magic word if it still sits in a standard landfill for decades. Thank you for clearing up that science for us, Tanishka. It is a vital reminder that without oxygen and the right environment, even the best materials get trapped in the system. We've spent this entire segment uncovering the hidden side of our choices, from the carbon emissions of rapid delivery and the heavy resource strain of manufacturing to the limitations of standard landfills. When you look at the big picture, it becomes clear that dealing with waste after it's already created is a losing battle. Yet the public messaging we see everywhere seems heavily tilted towards only one specific solution, while the most effective option is rarely spotlighted. To wrap up this heavy round, let's look at the famous slogan we all know. Anaya, we always hear the words reduce, reuse, recycle. Why do companies always push us to recycle but they never talk about the most important word, which is reduce? Over to you, Anaya.
I'm glad you brought this point up because many people focus on recycling without considering why the term reduce comes first. We often hear the phrase reduce, reuse, recycle, but most companies seem to focus mainly on recycling. In my opinion, this happens because recycling allows people to continue buying the products while still feeling that they are helping the environment. When the customers see labels that say a product is recyclable or made from recycled materials, they feel more comfortable purchasing it because they believe that they are making a responsible choice. Recycling is definitely important. It helps reduce waste and saves resources. However, recycling is not the first step in solving environmental problems. It only deals with waste after it has already been created. Before a product reaches its recycling stage, resources have already been used to manufacture it, package it, transport it, and even selling it. The word reduce is actually the most powerful part of the slogan because it encourages the people to consume less in the first place. Reducing means buying only what we need, avoiding unnecessary purchases, and creating less waste from the beginning. If more people focused on reducing, there would be less pollution and less pressure on the natural resources. I have also noticed that many products I buy come with labels saying that the packaging is recyclable. However, I rarely see companies encouraging people to buy only what they truly need. This made me realize while recycling is important, reducing waste from the beginning is even more important. The reason companies do not talk about reducing as much as that their business depends on selling products. Encouraging people to buy less may not be beneficial for their profits. It is easier for companies to encourage customers to recycle after making a purchase than to suggest that buying a fewer products is better. This does not mean that companies are wrong for promoting recycling because recycling is still very important. However, as consumers, we should remember that reducing our consumption is often the most effective way to help the environment. The less waste we create in the first place, the less waste we need to manage later. Thank you.
Wow, Anaya, that is a brilliant point. You've beautifully highlighted that reducing means companies sell less, while recycling gives an excuse to keep on buying. Thank you for reminding us that the best waste is the waste that is never created and the true conservation starts before we even reach the checkout counter. With that powerful insight, we bring a close to round two. We've dug deep into the uncomfortable truths from the hidden emissions of our delivery loops and the massive resource drain of production to the hard realities of our waste systems. Now that we understand this topic, let's see the real problem. Let's move into our final and most exciting segment, round three, this solution and takeaway. This round is all about giving our audience simple, cool, and actionable ways to change our daily habits. We want to move away from feeling overwhelmed by the problem and focus entirely on our collective power to drive a culture shift. Pragya, let's tackle the school environment first. Peer pressure to have the latest gadgets or clothes is tough. How can we make saying no thanks look like a sign of intelligence and leadership instead of just missing out? Over to you, Pragya.
Thanks, Pihu. That's a very relatable question. In today's world, it often feels like there is always something new to buy: a new phone, a new fashion trend, or the latest gadget everyone seems to be talking about. It can sometimes make us feel that we need to keep up. However, I believe that being able to say no thanks is actually a sign of intelligence and leadership. Intelligent people do not make decisions simply because something is popular. They think carefully before spending their time, money, and attention. Instead of asking, "What is everyone else doing?" they ask, "Is this really worth for me?" That ability to think independently is a very valuable skill. At the same time, leadership is not about following every trend. It is about having the confidence to make your own choices. When someone says, "No thanks, I'm happy with what I have," they show self confidence, self control, and maturity. There is also a bigger impact. Constantly chasing trends often leads to unnecessary spending and waste. Choosing thoughtfully helps both ourselves and the environment. In conclusion, saying no thanks is not about refusing opportunities or avoiding change. It is about making conscious decisions rather than just following the crowd. It shows that you are guided by your values and not by pressure. Anyone can follow a trend, but it takes real confidence to follow your own mind. Thank you.
That is in That is incredibly empowering. Saying no thanks means you are a leader who controls your choices, not a follower of advertising algorithms. Thank you, Pragya. It really reframes mindfulness as the ultimate superpower in today's world. Now, for a practical tool we can use this weekend. Moving on from mindset shift at school straight into our actual weekend habits, we need to create strategies. It's one thing to want to resist peer pressure, but it's entirely another thing when you are standing face to face with a flashy display or looking at a targeted ad on your phone. Impulsive buying is designed to bypass our logic, so we need a system in place to help us pause and think before we swipe. Rima, can you give the kids in our audience a simple practical rule they can use the next time they're at the mall or shopping online and feel a strong urge to buy something they don't need? Over to you, Rima.
Thank you, Piyu, for asking such a great question. Yes, I have a very simple rule that anyone can use. The next time you're at a mall or shopping online and you really want to buy something, stop and use the pause rule. The pause rule is easy. Before you buy something, ask yourself three questions. First, do I need it? Second, will I still want it tomorrow? Third, do I have enough money for it? If the answer to any of these questions is no, then wait before buying it. Sometimes we see something cool and we get really excited. Our brain says buy it now, but that feeling does not always last. Okay, so now think about a toy, game, or snack you really wanted a few weeks ago. Do you still think about it every day? Maybe not. This is because some wants are only for a short time. When you wait, you give yourself time to make a better choice. A good trick is to leave the item in your cart or put it back on the shelf and wait one more day. If you still want it tomorrow, you can think about it again. Remember, every amount of money you save today is the amount of money you can use later for something you really need or really love. So, the rule is simple: stop, ask three questions, wait one day. The little pause can help you make smart money choices. It helps you avoid buyer's remorse, which is the yucky or bad feeling we get after buying something and then realizing we don't really need it. It also helps you build self control, which is a superpower that helps you in school, in sports, in friendship, and in life. And most of all, it helps you focus on things that truly matter: your goals, your dreams, and the people you care about. So, next time you feel that strong urge to buy, take a breath, take a deep breath, use the pause rule, and make a choice your future self will thank you for. Thank you.
That is an excellent strategy, the three-question rule or cooling off period. That is incredibly practical, Rima. I am definitely going to use that one myself. It's the perfect way to let the initial hype fade so our logic can take over. Now let's look at how we can work together as a community. Taking a pause before we shop handles our individual choices, but we can multiply our impact when we involve the people all around us. Shifting our habits doesn't mean we have to stop enjoying fashion, books, or games. It means we need to change the way we access them. Instead of looking at a store as our only opinion, we can look at our friends, neighbors, and classmates as a collective resource network. Tanishka, if we want to stop buying new things, how can we use a circular economy with our friends? How can we share, swap, or fix things instead of buying replacements? Over to you, Tanishka.
To understand that, we first need to understand what a circular economy is. A circular economy is a system where we keep using, sharing, and repairing items for as long as we can. Instead of throwing things away and replacing them, we try to give them a second life. This is often confused for recycling, which only begins after an item has already become waste. A circular economy focuses more on preserving products for longer, before the use of recycling. One way we can practice this is by sharing things with people around us. For instance, I have this one friend who I share everything with. This includes toys, books, clothes, everything under the sun, we shared it. Doing this saves waste, energy, money, and our environment. Alternatively, swapping. Many of us own items that we no longer use but are still perfectly functional. Exchanging stuff, like what I've mentioned earlier, allows these items to continue serving a purpose rather than ending up in a bin. Through exchanging resources, we extend the lifespan of products and reduce demand for new ones. Some might go to the lengths of even repairing instead of replacing. This simple habit helps us make better use of the resources we already have. Things like a torn backpack or a loose button can be fixed like that. By mending our belongings, we can make them last longer and avoid overconsumption. Although these actions may seem small on their own, the more they stack up, the bigger the impact. When more people choose to share, swap, and repair, instead of constantly purchasing new items, the demand for new products decreases. And as a result, fewer resources are consumed, less waste is produced, and we take an important step towards building a more sustainable future. So you see, a circular economy might sound intimidating, But in reality, it's something we can practice every day with our family, friends, neighbors, and anybody who wants to protect our planet. And you know what they always say, sharing is caring, even for the environment. Thank you.
Wow, what a fantastic concept! Hosting swap parties and thrift loops sounds so much more fun than just going to a shopping mall. Thank you, Tanishka. It completely changes the game when sustainability becomes a social activity rather than a chore. Finally, let's talk about the ultimate shift in our mindset. Throughout this entire session, we have uncovered marketing myths, looking at the heavy toll our consumption takes on the planet, and explored practical ways to pause and collaborate. But at the heart of all these actions lies one fundamental truth. We buy things because we're searching for a feeling of fulfillment. If we want to truly break free from the cycle of consumerism, we have to redefine what makes us feel rich and successful. Anaya, close us out today. As our final takeaway, how can we shift our mindset so that we find happiness in doing things and making memories rather than owning things?
Thanks, Pihu. I think this is one of the most meaningful questions because it makes us reflect on what truly brings happiness in life. I think we can shift our mindset by understanding that the happiness we get from buying things is usually temporary, when the happiness we get from experiences often lasts much longer. When we buy something new, we feel excited at first. We may use it often, show it to our friends, or enjoying having it for a while. However, after some time, that excitement fades, and the item simply becomes a part of our everyday life. Experiences are different because they create memories that stay with us for years. Spending time with family and friends, traveling, learning a new skill, taking part in a competition, playing sports, volunteering, or even buying something new can bring a sense of joy that lasts much longer than the excitement of buying a product. These experiences often become stories we remember and share with others in the future. I have personally found that some of my happiest memories come from spending time with friends and family, participating in school activities, and learning new things. The confidence I gain, the people I meet, and the experiences I have during many activities stay with me much longer than any item I could buy. Even though I do not remember every product I have owned, I clearly remember the moments when I achieved something, learned something new, or spent quality time with the people I care about. Another way to change our mindset is by practicing gratitude. Sometimes we become so focused on what we do not have that we forget to appreciate what we already have. Taking time to be thankful for our family, friends, education, opportunities, and experiences can help us feel more satisfied and less dependent on material possessions for happiness. At the end of our lives, most people do not remember every product they own. Instead, they remember the people they meet, the places they visited, the challenges they overcame, and the memories they created. That is why I believe true happiness comes not only from collecting more things, but from collecting meaningful experiences and moments which stay with us forever. Thank you.
What a beautiful and profound note to end on, Anaya. You are absolutely right. Possessions fade, but memories and personal growth stay with us forever. Shifting our question from what should I buy next to what should I do next is a powerful mindset that can truly change all of our lives and protect our planet. Thank you so much. What an eye opening, inspiring discussion. Today, Pragya, Rima, Tanishka, and I have proven us that we cannot shop our way out of an environmental crisis. Before we bring this wonderful session to a formal close, I just want to ask our brilliant panelists one last thought. In just a single sentence or few words, what is all your ultimate takeaway or final message for everyone watching today? Let's go in order. Pragya, so what is your final thought?
Wisdom isn't buying what's popular, it's choosing what's right. Every purchase is a vote, every choice leaves a footprint, and every no thanks is a step towards a better leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Pragya. Rima, what is your takeaway?
Smart shopping means thinking about buying, purchasing only when we need, and using our belongings for a long time. Understanding the effort and resources behind products help us make better choices, reduce waste, and care for our environment.
Fantastic advice, Rima. Tanishka, over to you.
I think it's a beautiful thing that us middle school kids are speaking about this, much like Achla ma'am said at the beginning. We are the future of our planet, and what we do to it is the planet that we're going to grow up on. So I hope the final takeaway for everybody watching this is that sustainability isn't a massive ambition. It can start with something small, such as buying less instead of buying green.
Thank you, Tanishka. And finally, Anaya, leave us with your final words.
A quote that perfectly captures the essence of sustainability is buying less is not about having less, it is about valuing more. In a world driven by consumerism, these words remind us that every thoughtful choice can help us protect our planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Anaya. Beautifully said. As we heard today, the best things in life aren't things at all. They're the moments we share, the choices we make, and the legacy we leave behind. True abundance isn't measured by what we gather, but by what we choose to preserve. The power to protect our earth isn't inside our wallets, it is in our ability to look at the overconsumption, stand tall as conscious young leaders, and proudly say no thanks. A huge thank you to all our incredible panelists and thank you to our wonderful audience for listening. Let's start reducing today. To bring this wonderful session to a formal close, it's now my absolute privilege to invite the chairperson of Sustainable Future Foundation, Achla ji, to share her concluding thoughts and final remarks with us. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, can't believe girls, such a small girls are talking about circular economy, saving, not buying. I'm really proud of you, all of you. So thank you so much, Pihu, for that wonderful introduction and for hosting this session with such an incredible energy, clarity, and grace. You did a fantastic job guiding this whole session today. As I sat here listening to this discussion, my heart filled with immense pride and hope. Today, our young panelists have not just discussed sustainability, they have redefined leadership by looking beyond the flashing lights of consumerism to speak about the absolute truth. It needs courage. The Sustainable Future Foundation has always believed that youth are not just leaders of tomorrow, you are the mindful change makers of today. Let me start with one by one. Pragya, thank you for brilliantly unmasking the corporate world at such a small age, reminding us that a green leaf is often just marketing and challenging us to look at our online shopping carbon footprint here in the UAE. I hope you will remind all these to the younger siblings as well, all the kids who are younger than you. Rima, your insights were incredibly practical. Your three question rule, and you can say cooling off rule, is a golden piece of advice. We should all start practicing this very weekend. All the best, Rima. Okay, now Tanishka. Tanishka, you brought vital scientific clarity, reminding us that buying green is still consuming and showing us how a circular economy of swapping and fixing builds a resilient community. And I can totally see how much research you did before making the whole, speech and a script. You did a lot of research. Well done, Peter. Finally, Anaya. Anaya spoke with such a profound maturity about social media algorithm, leaving us with the ultimate formula for a fulfilling life. The best waste is the waste that is never created. Very good, Peter. All the best. So, on the behalf of SFF, I would like I would now like to propose a formal vote of thanks to conclude today's session of the Learners Today and Leaders Tomorrow series. A sincere thank you again to brilliant panelists for your rigorous research and to the wonderful host Pihu for driving this session so seamlessly. We extend our deepest gratitude to the educators, school leaders, and especially parents for supporting these girls, for nurturing and supporting these young girls, encouraging them to look beyond the screen and become empathetic global citizens. Finally, thank you to a tireless technical team and organizing team behind the scene, and to our amazing global audience for your encouraging energy and shared commitment to the planet. Thank you all, making a true event this true success. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Good night.
Much, ma'am.
Thank you.